Assalamualaikum and good evening everyone. So this is our lesson for today, the one that we missed okay, due to the blackout. Right, so we are supposed to do writing lesson today, and the learning standard is to write an essay or report that develops an argument systematically with appropriate highlighting of significant points and relevant supporting details. So this is basically how we develop an argument, right? So this is a continuation to what we have done in week 3 and also week 2 and also week 3. Okay, let's move on. So let's recap a little bit about what we have done in our previous lesson. If you remember, week 2 we did on types of essays and outline, whereas week 3 we did on writing introduction and conclusion. Okay, I hope you still remember it. However, let's refresh your memory. Okay, so we are going to look a little bit at argumentative and discursive essay, which we have done in week 2. Okay, the outline of argumentative and discursive essay, if you remember, okay, try to recall as I show the slide. So firstly, the introduction, we start with a hook, okay, followed by the background of the topic, right? And then the stand, which is the most important part of your essay, which is telling your opinion, whether you agree, disagree or partially agree. And finally, the thesis statement, whereby you have to state your 3 main points. Okay, so and we have done also the write-up for introduction last week, which you have submitted to me. Okay, as for body paragraphs, if you look at your notes in week 2, I don't actually know whether you have brought it back, but yeah, later on you can refer to it again. Okay, so we start with a topic sentence, which is stating the main idea, followed by elaboration, whereby you explain a little bit more about your main idea. Example is it's a must that you give an example, and you explain your example, and finally you have the linking sentence to tie everything together. So even if you look in your Muet book, it will show the same way. You have this TEEEL, so you have to just remember this for you to write body paragraph. Okay. As for the conclusion, which also we have done last week, we restate the stand, okay, and then you summarize your opinion, meaning you restate again your 3 main points. And finally, you give a closure. Okay, I hope that could jog your memory before we move on to our today's lesson, which is writing the body paragraph. Okay, so we are going to do this today, writing the body paragraph. Okay, there are some things that you have to remember in order for you to write a paragraph. So every paragraph should have these. Okay, firstly, you must have a topic sentence. Okay, so the topic sentence is normally at the beginning of the paragraph. If you remember, we did reading, whereby I told you to keep in mind that when we are doing writing, we are going to also look at a paragraph and how a paragraph should be. So if you remember, when we did reading, we had topic sentence at the beginning of the paragraph. I reminded you that although in reading you will have in a few places, but in writing it is very important for you to write your topic sentence at the beginning of the paragraph, because the topic sentence will contain the main idea. Okay, so write it in the beginning of the paragraph so that you can give a clear idea to the reader what to expect in your paragraph. Okay, and then all the remaining sentences should develop and support the topic sentence, the main idea lah. Okay, so make sure all the sentences there, the following one, it can be more than okay, your supporting and your your supporting details can be inclusive of your elaboration, is inclusive of your example. Okay, and explanation of example. Those are all considered as supporting detail. Alright, and your sentences should flow smoothly and logically. So this is where linkers is very important. Okay, if you look in the book, wet book, if you have it later on, you will see there are some linkers given, cohesive devices, and there's also some useful expressions that you can use to write your essay. Right, and finally, at the end of the paragraph, you should have a concluding or a linking sentence. Okay, so it links back to your topic sentence or the main idea, and also to the thesis statement. Okay, and your paragraph must be unified. Okay, what it means by unified is that every sentence in the paragraph must be related and also relevant to the topic sentence. Okay, so whatever which is not explaining the main idea should not be in that paragraph. Okay, so let's look at one sample paragraph. Okay, so we give this statement here: parents are responsible for childhood obesity. We have discussed on how to understand the statement. Okay, so here you should be looking at parents, which is the subject. Okay, so there should not be any mention of siblings, any other family members except for your mother and father. Okay, and childhood here, again, remember, if you remember, we categorized students before. So childhood would be around the age, maybe up to 12 years old. Alright, and obesity, overweight. Okay, alright. So the stand here is agree. Okay, so let's write. How do you plan a paragraph? So firstly, you decide the main idea. What will be your main idea? Okay, so you can say maybe your main idea, the first one, if you agree, you say yes, parents are responsible for childhood obesity because there are parents who are not good role models to their kids. Okay, so you give elaboration. If you remember, again, we did in okay, I think we haven't done speaking. I was supposed to do speaking with you tomorrow. However, we cannot do it in class. So I will give you something else. Okay, so in order for you to elaborate points, you need to use the WH questions. Okay, so you have why, when, who, what, how, and also what, where. Okay, so these are all the elaboration. It's easier because then you can ask questions to yourself to elaborate their main point. Okay, for example, here, parents, you say that parents who are not good role models, and that is why they are responsible for childhood obesity. So then why do you say that parents are not good role models? So you say parents have unhealthy diets, and some parents are even overweight and obese. So, and you see that normally when the parents are overweight or obese, children are also obese. Okay, but then you tell me how. Okay, the next question you ask yourself, how is that if parents are who have unhealthy diets and who are overweight can produce children who are also obese? How? So you say children, the nature of children, they always copy the behavior of their parents. Okay, this includes their eating habit, because you're talking about unhealthy diets here. Alright, okay. So when children copy, if you don't write children copy the behavior, then it does not show how that children are also overweight because of their parents. So you have to use the word copy here. Okay, so whatever the parents eat, the children would copy, and then that is also a reason whereby they could be overweight. Alright, then you give an example. Example should be specific because you already talk about unhealthy diets, you talk about eating habits, so your example must also be about food. Okay, so you say, okay, so you give evidence. Example is always giving evidence. You have to remember that when it comes to writing, you have to not only tell me that yes, parents are the reason children are fat or obese, but you have to also show me how. Give me an evidence. Okay, so your evidence here is that parents who often binge on snacks while being while being couch potatoes, their children will do the same. Okay, here binge here is not is associated with eating. Okay, so eating is maybe just a little, but binging means you have a lot in excessive amount. Alright, and snacks. Okay, snacks which is like very unhealthy, right? So, and while being couch potatoes, if you want to find out the meaning of couch potatoes, if you know, it's good. So couch potatoes are basically just sitting, watching TV, okay, not being active. Okay, that's being a couch potatoes. And also the children will do the same. Again, go back here, copyright. Okay, so explain again. Children will do the same. They will follow what their parents do. They will also be sitting in front of the TV, not being active, and also having some snacks. Okay, right, then you explain the example. Why did you give this example? Okay, and what does the example show? Right, so you explain then. If parents have poor eating habits, their children will also have poor eating habits. So again, go back to copy. Children copy, children will do the same. And so if the poor eating habits are being shown by parents, okay, because they are the role models of the kids, the children will also have the poor eating habits. So you explain why you give that example. And finally, the linking sentence is to tie everything up together. Alright, tie back to the main idea. So you say, alright, so by doing all this, obesity occurs in children is because parents are not able to set a healthy example. Okay, so go back to the statement here. Parents are responsible for childhood obesity. Okay, alright. Now that we have already planned the paragraph, so it's now to put everything together and to write a proper paragraph. Okay, so you have here the paragraph. So you say, firstly, okay, this is your first point. Obesity in children is compounded by parents who are not good role models to their offspring. Okay, if you see here the word compounded here, if you try to guess the meaning, okay, you know that it's not a good thing, definitely. So compounded is made worse by parents who are not good role models to their offspring. Okay, the statement here mentioned the word parents. Your topic sentence must also mention the word parents. Okay, mention about childhood. Here you have the word children, and here you have the word offspring. Offspring also means their kids. Alright. And then how are they responsible? So you say not good role models. So your topic sentence must contain everything which is in the statement. Okay, so you have parents being mentioned here, you have child being mentioned here, offspring and also children, and then you have how are they responsible is because they are not good role models, which is your main idea. Okay, right, so this is your main point or your topic sentence. Then you have the next sentence, which is supposed to be your elaboration, right? Okay, so they practice, the they here referring to parents, they practice unhealthy diets and are overweight or obese themselves. Okay, the one that we have said just now. Why do you say they are not good role models? And then you continue by saying it is also not uncommon to see obese children if the parents are also obese, right? Why? Because children emulate here is another word for copy, the behavior of their parents, including eating habits. Okay, so this is your supporting detail too. Right, so you elaborate more. Then you give an example. Okay, for example, parents who often binge, okay, just now we have discussed. Alright, while being couch potatoes are indirectly teaching their children to do the same. Okay, so just now we have already said that. Right, children copy. So telling the children that it's okay to sit in front of the TV and to eat a lot. Alright, and to being inactive. So they are showing that to their children. Okay, alright, and then you explain. This means that when parents have poor eating habits, then so too will their children. So you explain the example, and finally the linking sentence. Thus, one of the reasons obesity occurs in children is because parents fail to set a healthy example. Okay, so everything is tied up nicely. Right? So, if you remember when I told you every ideas must flow smoothly by the use of linkers. So, let's look at the linkers here. Okay, you have the word firstly here. And then you say also. So, meaning also to add information. You have the word for example to tell the readers that here is an example that I'm going to give. And then you want to explain. You say, okay, this means. So, you are saying that. Why I'm saying giving you an example, I'm showing that. Okay, when parents have poor eating habits, children will have it too. Alright, and finally, the word thus. Okay, sum up everything. Okay, clear? Right? Okay, so that is how you write a complete paragraph. So everything is there. Okay. If you want to have a look at other paragraphs regarding this topic, then you can do in your Muat book as well, because this I took it from the Muat book as of one of the sample essays. Okay, so have a look at it and see how other 2 points are being elaborated. Alright, so let's try to do a practice. Okay, so for this practice, you're going to read a paragraph. And then I need you to identify what is the topic sentence, the main idea, elaboration, example, and the linking sentence. Okay, so this is the paragraph. So read it for a while. Okay, you can pause for a while and read it. Okay, so this is on the statement, failure makes us a better person. Okay, so all about how by experiencing failure, you become a better person out of it. Okay, you can read, pause it for a while and read. And then I need you to answer this question. The question is in the Google form. So again, pause. Go answer the question. Okay, the paragraph is already in the Google form as well. Answer the question. Once you are done, then come back here. Because the next slide, I am going to show you the answers. Alright, so pause for a while and then go and answer the question. Once you are done, you come back here. Okay, let's look at the answer. So you have this, failure makes us a better person. Alright, okay, if you see there are some blues and some pinks here. Okay. The reason I put all the blues here is because the word failure, if you remember, I mentioned that you have to keep mentioning the word failure, but try to use different words. Okay, so failure here, fail in accomplishing their set targets also means failure. And then you have the word mistake, also a synonym for failure. If you do a mistake, you make a mistake, chances are you fail of doing something. Alright, also here the word done a mistake in one of his experiments. Okay, you have that. And another one, the word failure. Okay. Okay, so now this it says that failure can produce individuals who are creative. Okay, when you say creative, right, so creative here, how is the person creative? Then you have to have all these words, which also means the word can be associated with the word creative. Okay, alright, let's look at the answer. So this is your topic sentence. Failure can produce individuals who are creative. Did you get it right? Okay, so this is the question for number 1 and number 2. Right, the topic is failure. The answer is the main idea is individuals who are creative. Okay. Okay, then you have the next sentence. Although some people fail in accomplishing their set targets, they would think of alternative ways of salvaging whatever they started on. Okay, so they don't give up. That's another way. So that is your elaboration. Okay, and then it continues by saying, often such ingenious ideas result in new discoveries. Okay, because and many new gadgets have been unearthed this way. Unearthed means discovered. Right, so you have more elaboration. Okay, then you give an example. Okay, so the example here, who failed? Remember the one when we had this sharing session in class? I asked you to come out to find a famous person. If you still remember, you can put this person's name also. When if you were to write this on this topic. So Wilson Greatbuck, a scientist. Okay, please write the occupation of that person, because sometimes when I just say Wilson Greatbuck, many people will not know who he is. Okay, so don't assume everybody know the names that you put there. So tell who the person is. So a scientist was inspired by a mistake to invent one of the most significant medical devices of all time, the implantable cardiac pacemaker. Do you know what is a pacemaker? Okay, so pacemaker is actually a device, okay, that is put at your heart to control the rhythm of your heart. Okay, so cardiac is always associated with heart. I'm sure you guys know lah. You are science students, right? Okay, so this device is used to save millions of heart patients throughout the world today. So this is his invention and what it has done. So he's explaining. If he had not done a mistake in one of his experiments, this is the failure, he might not have been innovative and invented this device, the creative part. So again, you see the word failure is here, the word creative is here. Alright, so then you explain. Okay, what comes out of from that mistake. So explain. And finally, your linking sentence. In this case, his creativity was a result of the failure he experienced. Okay, go back to your main idea. Right? Okay. So I've given you 2 samples of body paragraph. If you still have still cannot understand how to do it, you can look at your MUET books, and I will be giving you some practices, and hopefully by doing that practices you can understand better. Okay, and you can always ask me next week, because next week we are going to touch on this again, a continuation of body paragraph. Alright, so then these are some of the additional reading that you can do. I've told you about the cohesive devices. Okay, you can also read the sample of a good essay there in your MUET book. If you didn't bring it home, it's fine. Next week you can go back and look at it. Alright, and I will be giving you some practices to do. Okay, that I will send separately from this PowerPoint. And also you can do this non-face-to-face from your MUET book as well. Alright, that's all for today. If you have any questions, if you need any explanation, any additional explanation, you can always ask in the group. Okay, so the practices I will send in the group separately later on. And if you have problem, you cannot watch the video, please inform me in the group as well. Okay, bye. Enjoy your break. Maybe, hopefully by Sunday I'll see you in college. Bye. Thank you.